Hello and welcome to the Adventure Toolkit example video number 3. My name is Glenn Storm and I'm from Hot Iron Productions. Today we're going to continue looking at tools from the Action folder in the Adventure Toolkit, starting with the Object Tether. The Object Tether tool is meant to tether one object to another as if by an invisible rope. It assumes that one object is moving. In this case, we have a cube moving with this cube mover tool. And then another object needs to be pulled by it. So we have this sphere that doesn't have anything on it to move it on its own. And we're going to use this Object Tether tool to do it. Okay, let's go ahead and hit play. Let's turn on our Object Tether. What we just saw is the sphere getting pulled toward the cube by this line here, this invisible rope. And you can think of it like a rope, you can think of it like a chain, or you can think of it like a loose rubber band depending on the settings. Let's look at some of these settings right now. Okay, the first setting is tether hitch. This is the game object that is moving and needs to pull something else. In this case it's the cube. The next property is tethered object. This is the object that needs to be pulled. In this case it's the tethered sphere. The next property is tether length, and this is the radius at which the tether is taut, and where within that it will be slack. In other words, this is the radius in which the tethered object will be pulled. Next is tether tension. This is how tense that tether is. So if you have this cranked up all the way to 1, it will act like a chain and will pull it no matter what. It will snap the tethered sphere to the cube within this radius. If it's loose, like we have right now at 0.1, it'll be more like a loose rubber band, and it will pull it over time and bring it gently inside this radius. So let's go ahead and hit play again, and go ahead and move our cube, and you can see it getting pulled around. And notice that while it's inside that sphere, it doesn't, if it's inside that radius, it doesn't pull the sphere. Okay, that's Object Tether. Let's look now at Parent Trigger. The Parent Trigger tool is meant to change the parenting relationships of objects at runtime. This is a powerful tool if you can trigger things and change the parenting relationships based on trigger systems. Let's look at this example and you'll see what I mean. So we've got two parent objects. They're both cubes, and one actually has a child now. It's this child's capsule, and this other parent doesn't yet have anything, but I've called it new parent. And I'm going to use our parent trigger to change the parenting relationship so the child switches to this new parent. To make it very, very clear, both these parents rotate according to these move targets. One rotates clockwise, the other one counterclockwise. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit play, and you'll see the child is rotating because the parent is, and it's rotating clockwise. And if I hit the parent trigger, you'll see it's now switched. Here in the hierarchy, it's very clear. It's now a child of the new parent, and it's rotating counterclockwise with the new parent. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the properties. First is the target go or target game object. This is the object that will change its parenting relationship, and it's the child capsule. Next is the target parent. This is the parent that it will be parented to, the object that will be parented to, and we've conveniently called it new parent. Next is parent delay. This is how many seconds from the activation of this tool until the parenting relationship changes. Next we have snap position. This will essentially teleport the object to the parent's position, and it works the same as teleporting. Next is snap rotation. This will match the orientation of the child to the parent. So you can check both these and it will be exactly like teleport to this position and rotation. Next is use fix update. Again, if you're working with something that needs to update with rigid body physics or something that is on that schedule, you want to have this checked. Most cases you do not want it checked, you just want it to update every frame. Last is reset on trigger, and if this is checked, it will deactivate this tool and get it ready for reactivation so you can use it over and over again. Okay, that's the parent trigger. Last for today is render trigger, and although we see nothing here in the scene window, this is a trigger that will change the look of your scene dramatically. It can change the render settings during runtime. Okay, if you go up here to edit and down to render settings, you'll see a number of things you can change. The fog, the ambient light, the skybox. These are things that the render trigger can change dynamically at runtime. So our first property, change skybox. If this checkbox is checked, you can then populate this next field, skybox material, and it will blend linearly to that skybox material. So you can change from cloudy day to starry night or whatever you like. The next property is change ambient light, and if this box is checked, you can set this target color and the ambient light color will change linearly. Next is change fog, and if you've checked this, then you can go to these fog properties and change the fog color. You can change the fog mode to linear, exponential, exponential squared. You can change the fog density of the exponential fog, and you can change the distances, the near and far distances of linear fog. Last, there's change delay in seconds from the activation of this tool until the blend begins, and the change duration, how long the blend of the render settings takes place. Okay, it might be a little difficult to see in this window, but if we hit play and activate the trigger, we'll see the yellow ambient light fade up, and then we'll see the blue fog take over all the way up to this close arrow. Okay, that's all the time we have for in this video. Please stay tuned for the next one.